Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and welcome to the French Seams. Thank you very much for joining me for today's video. This is a little catch up and it's basically all about the most fantastic sewing retreat that I'm just back from, and also a little collaboration reveal which I'm very excited to share with you. And of course I'll have some plans at the end of the video as well. So if that's something that interests you, please stay tuned. So if you're new to my channel, then you're very welcome. And if you're a regular viewer and subscriber, then welcome back. I'm delighted to be here with you today to chat all things sewing. So if you weren't aware, I am just back from the most amazing sewing retreat. It was just fantastic. So I haven't been doing a huge amount of sewing prior to that because I was doing an awful lot of cutting out ahead of this fantastic retreat, where I knew I'd have at least two and a half days of solid sewing, of course interspersed with some fabulous chats with some amazing sewing people. But it was just magical. It really was. So I went on this sewing retreat last year, and then of course it was organized again this year, and it was just amazing. I am still buzzing after it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some footage now of the bits and pieces I took while I was there, and then come straight back after and I will catch you up on the rest of what I've been doing. Hi everyone. So I got up very early this morning and I got the ferry from Dublin to Wales, and I'm just sitting in my car waiting to unload from the ferry because I'm heading to a sewing retreat this weekend and I cannot wait. So I have a little drive ahead of me, but I cannot wait to see all the lovely sewing people, and I will take you along this weekend too. Hi everyone, so it is now Saturday morning and I've just been having the best time. So I last left you when I got off the ferry. So the crossing went perfectly, totally smoothly. The water was like glass. It was just marvellous. I basically knit for the entire journey. It was just fantastic. Then I had about a 4-hour drive when I got off the ferry, which was fine. So I got here safe and sound and I arrived to the most wonderful welcoming committee with my fantastic friends. And then basically we started sewing and didn't stop sewing. It was just fantastic. So what have I been making since last night? The first thing I made was my sleigh ride shawl, which went wonderfully. So it's so warm. I am not going to be cold in this. So basically it goes over your head like this and then it crosses over. And of course my fantastic friend Sam Styla Sparkle kindly gave me some of her labels. So how perfect is this label? So this went really well and that was a great first make. Then I moved on to my South Bank sweater. So I was wearing a South Bank sweater dress yesterday, so I'll pop in a picture of that. Super comfy for traveling. I would definitely recommend it. But I knew I wanted to make a Christmas one. So here is my Christmas one in this fantastic fabric from Dreesenstoffen. Oh, I should say this fabric is from Thread Quarters, so I'll link that down below. She's unfortunately having a closing down sale, but if you can grab some of that, I would highly recommend it. So this is an amazing Fair Isle kind of French terry fabric that I made in another dress, which I really like. And this one I popped in a little label here. It's a Cozy Club handmade and it says naughty, nice, I tried. So this was super quick to whip up. Then this morning I finished off what I'm wearing. This is the Monroe turtleneck from Tessuti Patterns. It is a free pattern. Thank you to all the lovely people who recommended I alter the sizing. So I think I made a size 2, I think. I was definitely told about the neckline. The neck actually in this is okay because there's quite a bit of stretch in this fabric, but I did test it before I put in the neck. What I was warned about was the sleeves, and they're quite snug, I would say. So I did lengthen them a little bit and I lengthened the bodice as well. Hopefully I'll get a picture of me wearing it here. But these are quite narrow, and I think I added 2 centimeters, if not more, to the width of the sleeves, and they are still quite snug, but it's absolutely fine. It's perfectly wearable, and how is that for sparkle? And I do have another of Sam's fabulous sparkle labels in the back of this as well. So I've been sewing a bit this morning. My plan now when I go back down, I just popped up for a cup of tea. I'm going to see if I can get my high cuff sweater done, and then I want to move on to my Takesha bag. So we'll see how we go. The weather isn't great outside, so it's the perfect day to sit and sew amongst fantastic people. It really is. However, 2 of the fantastic people who are here are the lovely Bex and Adele from the Fabric Obsession. So I put in a cheeky order and I just got given my fabric. Wait till you see it. I got this amazing cord fabric, which is a kind of a dark green cord with these gold spots. I mean, how perfect is that? And I would love this to be some sort of Christmas pinafore, which is beautiful. And then I also got this. I mean, really. It's a kind of a velvety jersey sequin fabric. It's so beautifully soft and just so incredibly gorgeous. And this is going to be, again, some sort of festive-y sweatshirt, but I couldn't resist these 2, and I was so delighted they brought a little pop-up shop for us. So So chuffed with these. Thank you very much, ladies, and your shop is just magnificent. So I should leave it there for now, and hopefully I will come back to you again with some more makes and some more updates of my day. Hi everyone, so it's now Sunday afternoon and I will catch you up on what I got up to yesterday and this morning. So before I get started, I'll show you my beautiful Jazz and Wow earrings that I picked up from the lovely Bex. I just love these and I've been looking at them for so long and they're just beautiful. So today I've got my Petite Stitchery Remy sweatshirt on, I think it's called, so I'm very cozy in this. We did loads of sewing yesterday afternoon, late into the night, and then we've just been sewing up a storm all this morning as well. So yesterday I got my high cuff sweater done, and here it is in this fantastic Christmas mittens fabric. So I've done the green ribbing and on the cuffs and on the beautiful hemband as well. Then I finish it off with Specky Seamstress binding, this lovely Christmas binding, and Made at a Retreat, which is just marvelous, which I know Bex and Adele have in their shop as well, which is just gorgeous. I love these Sarah Hearts labels, and how perfect is that? So I have a video on my channel on how to do this neck binding. I will link it down below. So very happy with my high cuff sweater. And then I started on my Takesha bag, so I'll pop in a picture of the pattern here. So this was great. I had dedicated time to really focus on this bag, and it did take quite some time because it's quite involved, a lot of pattern pieces, but the instructions are fantastic and I had a really, really good time making this. So I did it all yesterday afternoon into last night and then worked on it all today as well. But she is done. And this is my bag. Here we go. And I am loving it. So at the front, you've got a little clasp. Never done that before. Thank you, Mandy, for lending me a little craft tool to do that. Then a slip pocket in here. Then on the back, you've got a beautiful zip pocket. And then you've got your crossbody strap. Then you've got a zip at the top. Then on the inside, you've got a slip pocket on this side and a zip welt pocket on this side with my Crafted in Chaos little Rosy Cheeks label, which I love. So all the hardware for this, the zips, the zipper pulls, this little spin thing here as well, they're all from the Little Sewing Tree in Dublin. I'll pop a link to them down below. And then the fantastic fabric is from my wonderful friend Orla at her new shop So What. I'll link it down below. This is the brown bread colorway of the faux leather, which was wonderful to sew with, and my machine handled it pretty well with a Microtex needle, so I had no issues there. And then the lining is this fabulous bonded nylon fabric, which is just a dream to work with. It even presses well. You don't need to interface it. And yeah, just perfect. So I loved making this. If I zip this up again to show you, tuck in the zip. So happy with it. Absolutely delighted with my Takesha bag. So yeah, have a quick look on Orla's website. So you can do faux leather in 3 different weights, and you can do the lining fabric as well, because you don't need to interface it, which will save you hours and hours and hours of work. So yeah, love making this. The instructions on this bag are just fantastic. So that's been my day so far. I think I've basically made everything I wanted to make here. I have one project cut out left to go, and that is my Davenport dress. So we shall see how I got on later, but I will chat to you all again in the morning, or maybe when I get back home. But for now, I'll say goodbye. Hi everyone, so I'm parked up at the ferry port now. The journey took about 4 hours, so it wasn't too bad, with a couple little breaks in between, but it was fine. I was listening to my podcast, listening to the radio. They even had some Christmas music on, which was nice, so I was having a little boogie and a bop to that. So yes, as I say, I'm just parked up at the ferry port, and then the ferry is due to leave in a few hours, and then I've got 3 hours on the ferry to do some more knitting, which is wonderful. But I'm very, very looking forward to being back home with my boys as well. So it was the most marvelous weekend. It really, really was. And a huge thank you to all the lovely people who I spent the weekend with. They are all just amazing. To spend the weekend among such fabulous, talented people is just, it's an absolute joy and an absolute pleasure and a privilege. It really, really is. So I can't wait to show you in more detail what I made. So I'll do that hopefully in a vlog at some stage. The standout project for me, I think, is my beautiful handbag, which I'm just so happy with. And now I think I'm going to have to start researching more bag patterns to try with that beautiful fabric. So I think I shall leave it there for now, and I will hopefully catch up with you all again very, very soon. So I hope you enjoyed that. As you can see, it was just the best time with the most fabulous people. I am incredibly lucky to call those wonderful people my friends, to get to spend time with them, to get to spend dedicated sewing time there, to have all the chats and just all the laugh and the giggles and the love and the fun. It was just fantastic. It really, really was. So a massive hello to everybody who was there. It was just a joy to spend that time with you. So here's to next year. So that was basically the sewing retreat. So I did show you most of what I got made there, but the one thing I didn't get a chance to show you was my Davenport dress, and I shall show it to you now. So if you watched on the Rainbow Fabrics Instagram account on Friday, I believe, they're currently having a Black Friday sale. So I'll pop in the image here. There's currently 40% off everything. So use my code Rachel VIP for 40% off, and that is an affiliate link. Thank you very, very much. But in that Instagram reel, which was hilarious, it was just so much fun to do. It was me along with all the other lovely brand ambassadors advertising the sale, but I was wearing my new Davenport dress for the eagle-eyed amongst you, and it was in this fantastic fabric that I bought recently at the Knit and Stitch Festival in Northern Ireland. So it's kind of got a Christmassy vibe for sure, which I love. So I got it made up super speedy at the end of the retreat, because of course I had just made one for the Knitting and Stitch as well, so it was fresh in my mind, and I love how this came out. Hopefully I'll be able to get some pictures of me in this over the next few days. You might see them over on Instagram as well. But basically it's got the beautiful little flutter sleeve here, the lovely gathering at the neckline, the nice yokes, the fully enclosed yoke at the back, lovely long sleeves, and I had the elastic drawstring, and then lovely big pockets as well. And I put the Lotta skirt on this, not the Davenport skirt, so it's kind of A-liney skirt and really swooshy and just fabulous, and I love wearing this, and I know I'm going to get a ton of wear to this in December as well, so delighted I got that done. So that was the last thing I got done on the retreat, so I couldn't believe that of all the stuff I cut out to bring, I actually got all of it done. So you know I don't like having works in progress, so delighted I got all of that done. So yes, incredibly lucky that I had that wonderful retreat. It was just an absolute joy. It really was. I had such a good time. So as well, again, massive thank you to everybody involved. It was just fantastic, and what a setting. So the next little thing I'd like to talk to you about is a collaboration reveal, and you might guess from what I'm wearing. So a number of months ago, a good few months ago, myself and some lovely sewing friends, so that's Tanya, Just Let Me Sew, Mandy, Make It Sew, and Catherine, Sew to Makery, we all decided to make the Styla Taos. So Styla is the adult version of the Little Lizard King pattern company. We all decided to make the same top, and we were able to take a picture of us all together wearing them on the retreat, which was just fabulous. So I'll pop in a picture here. I just love that picture. It just captures the whole weekend. It's just fantastic. And now I get a chance to show you my version. So I've been wearing this pretty much last winter as well, but now I get to wear it this winter, and I finally get to show it to you lovely people. So I am delighted with it. So you may have heard me mention it a number of months ago that I was doing this collaboration, and now I can tell you all the details. So first off, I would like to say a huge thank you to the lovely Graw. So I'll pop her Instagram account down below. She very kindly gave me this fabric. I think when we did afternoon tea frocktails, which must have been, I think, September 12 months ago, and she had a little offcut of this denim quilted Sherpa, and she said, would I like it? So I said, yes, of course. And then when we were discussing the Styla Taos collaboration, I thought this fabric would be perfect, and I'm so glad. So this is the coziest, the warmest, the comfiest sweatshirt I think I've ever owned. It's just magnificent. So it's just the denim fabric for the mane, and then I've got some Tula pink fabric for the accent, and it just worked out so beautifully. So basically the details of this. So it is, so let me talk, yes, the sizing first of all. So the sizing was a little bit of a head scratcher. So my bust is 36, that put me in a size 6. My hips are around a 41, 42, that put me in a size 16. But looking at the finished garment measurements, the finished garment of a 12 was around a 41, and I thought that might be okay. I thought grading from a 6 to a 16 would be tricky, but I could grade from a 6 to a 12. In the end, I ended up taking out a bit of bulk out of the top because it is quite oversized. And in this fabric, it's not at all drapey, so it really sticks out. This jumper could basically stand up on its own. I know the other ladies have made it in boucles and fleeces, and it's a lot more drapey, but this has a huge amount of structure to it. So in the end, I made a kind of a 6 at the bust, but I think I sized down again. So you can see here, it's got two parts to it. If I stand up, it's got the front panel with the pocket, and then it's got a lower panel with pockets here as well. And then it's finished off with, I put in a drawstring. It's meant to be elastic, but I liked the look of the drawstring. Then it's got these lovely raglan sleeves, and it's actually got a dart in the sleeve as well, which gives some very nice shaping, although sewing a dart in Sherpa is quite tricky. So that's what I want to do with the sizing. The sleeves were a very, very good length. I didn't have to add anything to the sleeves, which was great. I did want to add an inch to the bodice. So I'm 5'9" and I thought it might come up a little bit short. So I added length to the bottom of the lower bodice. So I added the length here. I should have added the length on the top part to lower this. So that's why the pockets are slightly high on me. So lesson learned, if you're lengthening this, lengthen the top panel, not the lower panel. And then I just added the inch to the back, which was absolutely fine. So then what else? The fabric requirements are quite good. I think this is just under about 1.5 meters of the denim fabric. You do, of course, need an awful lot for the accent fabric because all of the neckline is bound and all of it down here. You need to do these beautiful sleeve cuffs inside. Are they sleeve plackets? Sleeve facing here. And then, of course, the hem is bound as well. So you do need an awful lot of binding, but that was really, really fun to do. And I think the colours, I think, match really, really well. You need a few little zips. So I've got a little zip here and I've got a little pterodactyl zip pull that my lovely friend Adam Sews kindly gave me, thank you. So you need a zip for the little chest pocket here and then 2 little zips here, which are of course welt pockets, and they're fully lined as well. And I got these lovely rainbow zips, I think from Purple Stitches. The instructions on this are really, really good. So in this, it does actually walk you through how to make this with Sherpa, which was great. So basically I cut all of this out and the Sherpa kind of grows from the inside. So what I did was I overlocked all the edges, but with the top side of the fabric facing up. So I basically kind of sheared off all the Sherpa that had grown. So basically it was a sheep shearing competition here. There was fluff everywhere, but I was very, very glad I overlocked all my pieces first, because then when I was sewing them together it was much easier to see my seam allowance. They do recommend, if you're using Sherpa, to use a walking foot, which I did, which definitely helped as well. I think it gave it that mobility over the feed dogs as well, which really, really helped. So that was great that they did give dedicated advice to using Sherpa. They give you advice on doing the binding, all that stuff, and of course the welt pockets went in very nicely as well. In my opinion, they're much easier to say the pogo nip welt pockets, because the pogo nip welt pockets are open all around it, but this of course is caught into the top bodice, so it's much easier to do a welt when you're only doing 3 sides. So, but I found that no problem at all. You do interface this bit here for the pocket to give it a bit of stability, but you don't interface the placket here, which is why I got away with using quite a lightweight fabric on the placket, and I think it does still sit very, very nicely. You can barely see, but I've got little snaps here as well, so I don't tend to button it all the way up, but I tend to have one little snap closed, but I think it gives a lovely finish. And I just used my awl to poke a hole through the facing, and it was no trouble putting the snaps on the Sherpa at all. It was great. So what else? So that was all about the sizing, and then the only thing I want to mention was that the cuff here with the facing is very, very nicely done, and I put elastic in that. However, my lovely friend Tanya, and you'll see in her video, so for all of this I will pop in Catherine and Tanya's and Mandy's videos down below as well, so please pop over and check their reveals as well. Their versions are beautiful, and I love that all our versions are so different. But Tanya was very, very clever, and she did cuffing and ribbing at the cuff here, which I think looks really, really nice, and I think gives it a beautiful, beautiful look. So that was basically everything I want to say about the Styla. So one more thing I want to say about the fabric recommendations. So you can use Sherpa, you could use denim, you could use boucle, you could use fleece, sweatshirting. I think it's really, really nice and very, very broad fabric requirements. However, in the actual sizing and how much fabric you need, it doesn't say you need 1.5 meters. It says you need this amount for the sleeve and this amount for the top part and this amount for the lower part, which I found quite confusing because you then have to kind of add it all up. But my advice is just to lay out all your pattern pieces and then gauge how much fabric you need. You don't need a huge amount, kind of sweatshirting size. However, the sleeves on this, the raglan sleeves, are quite wide, so just make sure you're not using fabric that's very, very narrow would be my only advice. But all in all, I absolutely love it. It's got a beautiful collar. One thing I did change on the collar, because this is actually doubled over, what I did was I orchestrated it, so I did the instructions backwards so that I've got the Sherpa facing on the inside. So I've basically got it right sides to wrong sides effectively on the inside, and I think that came out quite nice because then you've got the nice fleecy bit on the inside, which really shows up those makeup stains, doesn't it? Never mind. But yeah, so this is my Styla Taos and I'm just so pleased with it. I wore it a bit last year and I've been wearing it loads again this year. I want to say a massive thank you to Tanya and to Catherine and to Mandy for doing this collaboration as well. I think it was Tanya's idea to do this pattern, so thank you very much, Tanya. I think it's perfect. I've seen an awful lot of these ready to wear in the shops, this style with the big collar and with this chest pocket here, but now that we can make our own, much nicer, and I think this would be fabulous. You could do color blocking because it's 2 panels at the top here and the sleeve. I think you could really have fun with it and definitely do it in an awful lot of different fabrics, and it would give a very different look and feel. This is almost like a jacket or a coat, but of course in a fleece it'd be far more kind of casual, like just a jumper. So I think the possibilities here are endless, and I was very impressed with the Styla pattern, so I'll definitely be checking them out in future as well. So that was my little cheeky collaboration, and I'm delighted to now show it to you, and as I say, pop on over to the 3 lovely ladies videos to see their versions. They're absolutely beautiful. They really are, and I had so much fun doing it with these ladies. So thank you very much, ladies, and I think we should plan another cheeky collaboration, don't you? Right, so that was my Styla Taos. What else have I got to talk to you about? So my plans. So as I'm filming this, it is the weekend and we are very nearly at the 30th of November, and that is when I'm doing my Advent cast on for my Christmas socks. I'm very excited about this. So I think I mentioned to you before that I cast on another pair of socks to tide me over throughout November, and I'm pleased to say they've been going rather well. I'm definitely not going to finish these by December, but I'll put them away and I'll come back to them after I finish my Christmas socks. But I've been doing these beautiful ones and I've got pretty far. It really helped that on the ferry to the sewing retreat and on the way back I had time on my own. I was sitting in the lounge, I had cups of tea, and I basically knit for the entire journeys. It was just magnificent. It was an absolute luxury. So these are my socks, and if you cast your minds back, I did a contrast toe, contrast heel, so I've literally just turned the heel and I'm working my way up the leg now, but I'm not really going to get these finished any day soon, so these will be put aside in favour of my Christmas ones, but I will come back to these very soon. So the most important thing now is that I'm going to be casting on my Christmas socks in this beautiful West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas yarn called Mulled Wine, and I have separated them into 2 balls, so I've got one for each sock. As you know, I do them 2 at a time, toe up, so I've separated them both into 50-gram balls, and they're both colour matching, so I'm starting at the same colour, and we are ready to go, folks. So the Instagram group for this Christmas socks, bunch of lovely ladies. If you would like to join in with our Christmas cast on, then please drop me a note over on Instagram and I will happily add you to that group. So it's going to be wonderfully encouraging as we get closer to Christmas Day and hopefully get our beautiful socks done. I'm just doing very simple stockinette for these socks to make sure to get them done. There are some people who are going very fancy and have some beautiful patterns there, so I'm feeling very inspired for next year. But that basically is my knitting plan. I haven't got any crochet plans to speak of just yet, but I will be starting an exciting project next year, but more on that in the next few months. As regards sewing, so after the knit and stitch, after the retreat, after all the amazing stuff I got there, I have been putting everything through the pre-wash. So I have nothing to show you now because everything is being washed. But basically, the beautiful bow fabric that I bought from Rainbow Fabrics at the knit and stitch, I really want to make a Chasing Butterflies top out of that. And then also the fantastic sequin fabric that I was very lucky to pick up from the lovely Becky and Adele, the Fabric Obsession. I'm really keen to make that into a linden sweatshirt very soon. So that, of course, is in the wash as well. I'm happy to report the sequins washed beautifully. So they're the 2 things that I would like to get made up this week. So it's Chasing Butterflies and a linden sweatshirt as well. Aside from that, it is December next week and I have a few little things planned. So make sure you are subscribed and make sure to check back because you never know what might happen in December, eh? So be sure to tune in for that. And that is all I'm saying for now. So I think I shall leave it there for now. Thank you as always for joining me. I really enjoyed chatting to you and sharing my sewing and knitting and crochet adventures with you. If you'd like to leave me a comment on anything you've seen today, please leave me a comment in the comment box below. You know how much I love having the chats, and I'm actually up to date with all my YouTube comments. I am so happy. So feel free to drop me a comment. I would love to have the chats. If you like this video, I would very much love it if you give me a thumbs up, and also please consider subscribing. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all getting time for some lovely sewing, and I will talk to you all again very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.